I may not be as much fun as the Smurfs, or the Snorks, or Schoolhouse Rock, but this is still Saturday Morning Chris Tunes. Since I'm a kidult, I'm eating cereal, but unfortunately it's more like grown-up cereal. You know, Cinnamon Harvest. This is the closest thing I could find to pumpkin spice. Haven't really had any pumpkin spice anything this year. Not that I intend on having pumpkin spice. I'm also battling other adult problems. Some kind of pen exploded somewhere, and so I have had ink just randomly appear on my hands in the desk. I think I figured out largely where it came from, but it seems that some other object has picked it up. So the last thing I want to do is spread the ink to places that I don't want ink to get, like on my pajama bottoms, which have now been ink stained. Okay, this is, I mean, it's a fun-ish cereal. It's sugary, definitely cinnamony, and of course vegan. The pieces are so large. Let's place that there. I'm gonna start the print. It's a bowl of yum. I probably could have had a sugary, or more sugary cereal, I should say. Got a new container of almond milk with the right creamy viscosity. Just like that, direct from almond nipples. I know, you're thinking, Chris, usually you stream live on Twitch every night. Why are you streaming live on YouTube? Well, it's because it's Saturday morning. I usually don't stream on Twitch in my mornings, and it's the weekend. So normally I'd be watching Saturday morning cartoons, as one does. Like, if you still exist, and you're not watching Saturday morning cartoons in some way, shape, or form, do you really exist? Are you really alive? I really have to ask, because I genuinely don't know if you are. Like, if you have a pulse, you need to be watching Saturday morning cartoons. I wish I was a cartoon. Maybe I could make myself a cartoon somehow. That would be fun. I mean, then I could broadcast a true Saturday morning cartoon. There's probably a filter in OBS I could use. There's also an announcement for Reincubate Camo. I'm looking at my hands. Everything I touch, I'm just afraid I've, like, smeared some kind of ink somewhere, and I'll find it, like, weeks from now. I could do an AR type of thing that would make me cartoony, but unfortunately I don't have the software connected right now because I'm using it largely on the iPhone, one of the devices I intend on talking about. I'm not using Reincubate Camo on the Pixel, another device I intend on talking about. At some point I might, because it is available for iOS and Android, for both Windows and Mac OS. Saturday morning cartoons are still going? Oh, absolutely. You have to look everywhere. I mean, you can't just go to network television anymore. That stopped, like, in the 90s, I think. You have to dig. You have to dig really deep, but hey, there's YouTube. That's one of the reasons I still use YouTube. I know, all y'all are like, well, I use YouTube for this. I use YouTube to look up videos that I haven't seen for decades. Cartoons. And I let them play. I let them run here in the play shop. What, are you going to use YouTube to watch some guy eat cereal that's cinnamon flavored? Getting staged. I need my energy, people. I can't just dive in and start talking about these devices. I need to warm myself up. Which is one of the reasons I'm growing out the shag carpeting on the face. Life Day is coming up, as you very well know. We'll be celebrating on Twitch watching the Star Wars Holiday Special together. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike. But I'm going to do my best to show up like a Wookiee. I mean, I don't know if my facial hair would be that long by then, because it's about a week away. Approximately. Not the most fun cereal I've ever had. More fun than some. Adulting. Well, it was on sale. I'm like, alright, I'll give it a shot. Very wheaty. Normally on Twitch, I start the broadcast and then wait like 10 minutes or so, and then the show starts. YouTube, it's somewhat different, because YouTube's not as much fun for live streams. It's a bit more business-like. So here I am, being more business-like on YouTube. YouTube's all like, no, you have to do videos this way. And I'm all like, but I want to do videos that way. And like, no, you can't do a video about this and then eat cereal. But I want to. You can't. You've got to be unidimensional. You can only be one thing. But I don't want to be. I'm many things. I'm someone who likes cereal and Saturday morning cartoons and I buy technology. No. You can only do one or the other. Because we're YouTube. Nah. Okay. What's wrong with you? I don't want to play your game, YouTube. No, everyone wants to play my game. Because it's my game. Have you seen Squid Games? Don't change the subject. Seriously, on YouTube you can never change the subject. Ever. Don't do it. Everyone will hate you for it. Yeah. Can't ever change the subject. Don't go back to the topic. I don't even know what my topic was. Well, that's your problem. Right there. Hello and good morning, Carlos. So glad you could join me this morning. And thank you for being a member. And I know you were watching some of the Twitch streams this week. Including, I think you were there on the night we raised $8,000. $8,400. 8,400, I think, was the approximate total we raised for Gimpy God. Unbelievable. Like, the community, the greater community, coalesced. We came together, and we raised $8,000 for the guy. He lost his house in a fire. In the middle of streaming. But that's the power of the Twitch community. I don't think we ever have a community like that on YouTube, unfortunately. But that's the reason that I spend more time and attention not looking for random ink stains on my hands, but on Twitch. So, without further ado, this was good. I might munch on it throughout the morning after I get my other tasks done, like cleaning out the pen well. If you see my mouth doing this, it's because I got wheaticles, like pieces of wheat jammed in to cracks and crevices in my mouth. So I'm doing my best to, I don't have anything to drink. Oh, actually, I take that back. I do. I do still have a little Ticino left. Ugh. It does not taste good after eating that cereal. Have you ever, had something to drink and it's fine? And you have something to eat and then you drink it again and then it's not fine? Like, this is like levels of drinking orange juice after brushing your teeth kind of bad. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. And that is me really not being impressed or won over by either one of these devices. So for that, I would say they're on an even playing field. My experience with both the Pixel 6 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max have been underwhelming, to say the least. I'm just not that impressed with either one of them. I mean, yes, I could say something like, these are the latest to come out from either Apple or Google. That is true. Empirically, that's a fact. Like, undeniable. These are the latest of each. But, the software, while not the same, I would definitely put in the same place. iOS is about as impressive as Android 12 on the Pixel today, which is to say they are a long way from what they used to be and what they could be, in my humble opinion, and in my experience as a software enthusiast. Yeah, I'm the only one who's probably saying that they are about the same in that respect. I mean, you've got, obvious, differences, when you start, going beneath the surface. But, the way I look at a device is less about it and more about the whole it. And the whole it goes well beyond the hardware. And that's something that I'm not sure too many people take a look at. I mean, they look at the device as soon as it's released, they get excited, and then they forget about it a week later. I'm like, well, I tend to use it, or try to use it, enough to know whether or not I feel that it is providing a good experience. And unfortunately, my summation, the high-level overview for those tuning in live on a Saturday morning, as I've wolfed down one bowl of cereal. I may go for a second one. I'm kind of hungry. They both tell the time, right? They both do. They really genuinely do tell the time. Like, look, see? Look, they're both telling the time. So that's good. They both can make phone calls, which is, something that I would have loved to do on the Pixel. But, I mean, if only because of the software that Google's added to the phone feature of Android on a Google Pixel device. Unfortunately, I'm not going to switch to the Pixel, and I absolutely am not switching to iOS. It's just not practical, right? I mean, if you want to talk about, apples to apples, I'm just telling you that neither one of these are devices that I would care to use as a go-to experience, because I find them to be extremely lacking in polish. I can give you example after example after example. For one example, right? Apple's touted ProMotion on the iPhone, and it works ish. They decided not to bring over all the animations. They may get around to patching all the animations. I heard that story before. Oh, I remember you, Apple. iOS 7? Yeah. People said, it was going to get better and improve in software. And I guess it kind of did in certain ways, and in other ways it never really changed. So, ProMotion is hit and miss on the iPhone because app developers, third-party app developers, you probably have an app installed, from a third party that is a non-Apple app. You probably have at least one of them. That app developer has to opt in to 120 frames per second. Has to opt in. Like, they have to say, yeah, we want that. So, like, Twitter, it's a new thing. It's been around for maybe a decade or so, over a decade. I can't even remember how old my account is. Many people do not know about Twitter, but it's an app that you can install. I mean, you can go to the web too, but most people install the app on their phones. And it runs like garbage on iOS. Hell, it runs like garbage on Android too, but it runs like more garbage on iOS because the app developer has not opted into ProMotion. So you've got this fancy new device, this fancy hardware, capable hardware, but the software, once again, falls short. And that's really probably why I've been very disappointed with the Pixel, because I consider myself, much like I was once a fan of the iPhone, I now consider myself in the past tense a former fan of the Pixel, because Android 12 is just not doing it for me at all. I mean, it's buggy. It's glitchy as hell. It's lost a lot of what drew me to it. The spit and polish, or at least the finer points of design that I appreciated. I feel like I was slapped in the face with Material U. I'm not impressed with how it was implemented. I'm not really into pastels. You might be. It's great. I said I was going to start this print, and I didn't actually see it all the way through. Now it should work. There we go. Okay, it's heating up. So, yeah, lackluster is probably the best word I could use to describe my experience with the Pixel. Missing. It's fluid. I would say that when it is fluid, it is more fluid than iOS. Android is far more fluid than iOS. Design-wise, I put them both kind of in the same mental category as it's just not doing it for me, like it once did. Google is trying to find its own identity. Like, it doesn't know who it is, it doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up, and that's very apparent when you see how much it's changed over the past year. Certainly year to year, it doesn't have something that it's trying to be. It doesn't have any level of consistency, and so they're just throwing seemingly everything against the wall to seeing what sticks. Unfortunately, I just don't feel that this is going to win anybody over. The change that they've made, or the changes, design changes and implementations of features that they've made, or I should say lack thereof, in Android 12 on the Pixel. I thought Android 10 on the 4XL was a better experience than Android. Sorry, did I say Android 10? Android 10 on the Pixel 4XL was a better experience. Android 12, and assumedly 12L, because this is not a foldable device, and I don't want a foldable device. At least not right now. I don't think it's going to patch anything. I don't think it's going to fix my issues, the shortcomings as I've perceived them specifically on this Android device. Whereas, on the other hand, you've got iOS, which is mostly baked, and it has not changed at all, and they're adding features like SharePlay, which allows you to share things with people, like friends and stuff. Like, you can share now and organize what's shared with you, because we all know that everything our friends send us we want to keep, and they always send the best stuff. Yeah, that's something that I guess somebody wanted. That's the tentpole feature of iOS this year. Not really anything I got excited about. Between the two devices, you've got still a massive unsightly notch on the iPhone screen, which, as I've argued from the beginning, has been a branding exercise. It's not great. It's fugly, and it's still there. There you go. Have at it. We're gonna notch all the things. That's Apple. Apple, don't laugh. Next year's polishing cloth is gonna come with a notch. That's my prediction. The polishing cloth. Watch out. Everything's gonna get a notch. Everything. I'd rather have the hole punch. Got to give it to the Pixel for that. Hole punch is not as unsightly. You can work around it. Tito E, another one of our members here on YouTube, and appreciate the membership. Thank you. And if you're also a sub on Twitch, the two are not connected, but Tito says Android 12 is half-baked, soggy pie, and IMO. Google needs to address it fast. Yeah, Tito, that's exactly what I'm saying. You could have a new piece of hardware, but if it's the software that's holding it back. So I'm probably the only one talking about a Pixel who's saying this, seemingly, because I know it's the thing to say, oh, it's new and it's the best, and this, but is it? Is it really? I don't know. I feel different about that. Yeah. So, Twitter is one of those apps. I'll keep going back to Twitter. Twitter runs like absolute trash on iOS. Like absolute garbage. On a new phone, a new iPhone 13 Pro Max, trash. Because it's not opted into the promotion display that Apple decided to make as the policy. As opposed to Twitter on the iPad, which is not really optimal. Yeah, Twitter on the iPad. It's like people say, "Oh, I use the iPad." I'm like, the apps are not optimized for that screen. Most of them are not optimized for that screen size. Twitter is one of those apps. Runs better on iPad OS because iPad OS, for some reason, Apple said, "Okay, everyone gets 120 frames per second instantaneously," just like on Android. Like you just get a device that has a 120 hertz screen, like you get like a good frame rate. Versus a choppy frame rate on a ProMotion powered iPhone today. Twitter being one of those apps. Runs like trash. Trash. Will Twitter acknowledge that and fix it? They haven't on Android. Android's a different kind of choppy mess. On every Android device, it's choppy. It's smoother choppy, but it's choppy, and it's really choppy on Twitter. Or on Twitter on the Pixel 6 Pro specifically. It runs better, Twitter, same app, runs better on a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. And given that I use Twitter prolifically, because I assume you follow me, if not, peel a carrot. That's the sign, I think, for peeling a carrot. Go peel a carrot. Neville Littlejohns comes in with a super chat. It says, sad to see you downhearted about what companies aren't doing what they should be doing. Naturally hope this donation makes you smile. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the support. You know, here's the thing. I'm not critical because I think that it's fun to be critical, or I enjoy being critical with these devices and these experiences. It's just that I would expect better. I spent money, a lot of money, on this device. A lot of money. My money I spent on this device. Not happy. Spent a lot of money on this device. Not happy. Not thrilled. Not okay with it. And honestly, if I wasn't someone that people continuously turn to, even when I didn't want to talk about it, continuously turn to ask for advice on smartphones, though again, not a smartphone enthusiast, don't really get into the hardware, only care about the software. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have kept either one of these devices. That said, I was able to work in into my workflow the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I was able to accommodate it. So if you watch the Twitch live streams, it's obviously not connected right now, but I use a re-incubate camo to mount this as a webcam. I talked about it in recent weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure recent weeks. What the hell? So anyway, ProMotion is one of those things that I know Apple touts, but even when it's turned on, ProMotion just doesn't work as advertised. It's smooth-ish, but it's not smooth. 120 FPS is smoother on Android, just about every Android, than I've ever seen on iOS. Like when things are supposedly working in ProMotion, it's still not smooth on an Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max. So let's say, for argument's sake, Twitter gets updated, right? That's just one example. It still won't run as smoothly as it runs on my Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. It's just the way Apple implements ProMotion. It's smooth-ish, but it's not smooth. I mean, the iPad ProMotion display I was always really happy with. My issue with the iPad, and the reason I got rid of it, had nothing to do with ProMotion. It was implemented well on the iPad. The reason I got rid of it is because, quite honestly, the software that I needed to use with it it did not work very well. I mean, it worked. There's an accolade for you. Hey, use our platform. It works. Well, that's fine, but like I'm looking for something a little more. And the software shortcomings just got to be a bit too much for me in relation to the iPad. I just couldn't do it anymore. I don't care about the hardware. I'm like, if the software just doesn't do it for me, I'm out. And that's when I switched, as I mentioned earlier, to the Samsung Galaxy Tab S Plus? Samsung Tab 7 S Plus? So the latest tablet, the high refresh rate screen, and it's been great. It's been, I mean, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Like, there definitely needs to be a few tweaks, but I will tell you, it's been a better tablet experience on the Samsung tablet with an operating system that wasn't necessarily built for the tablet. Then it's been a better experience than it was for me on the iPad. Because you got to weigh the benefits and drawbacks, right? There's no type of perk. But I don't want to talk about the tablet right now. I want to talk about these two devices because that's the focus of this morning's Saturday Morning Chris Tune. Yeah, it's let's see, what else can I say? Oh, the cameras, right? The output. Forget the cameras. Who cares? Who cares about the cameras? Well, photographers do. They want to know aperture and f-stops and flash intensities and ISOs and wide angle, percentages and X's and I care. I do. But honestly, the only thing I really care about, as mentioned, I think, in an earlier video this week, a TLDR that I recorded that you might not have seen because YouTube probably didn't surface it to you. I'm not going to have that argument again. I basically said I don't care about any of that. I care about the output. What kind of image does it produce? And then I did a full-on video, like a 20-minute video, comparing photos taken with the iPhone 13 and the Pixel, and in so many cases, I was not impressed with either one of them. Like, there were times that, I think I can think of one example where I feel the iPhone edged ahead of the Pixel. The Pixel, I feel, does a better job, to my eye, with sharpness and clarity in trying to balance color. Selfies or front-facing cameras, low light, I feel the Pixel does better. But not that much better than the iPhone. Like, they're both in the same class. Again, they're kind of in the same class for me in terms of photo output. Like, I don't have a favorite. Between the two, I'm not going to... Favorite's the wrong word to use, but, like, literally, I put them in the same category. Like, these are, like, the same devices to me. Like, I just don't want to use them. That's the that's the ultimate, right? I just don't want to use them. Doesn't that say it all? You might want to. Great. That's awesome. Congratulations. All I need to be is you, and all my problems are solved. Not gonna happen. So, what's another thing I could talk about? Always on display. Apple sucks. The Google Pixel's got an always on display. Now, this is one of those features, just like a high refresh display. This is one of those things where you'll hear certain people say, "Well, you don't need an always on display. You can just pick it up. Look, that's what they make the watch for. That's what you need. Yeah, we don't need an always on display." And then it gets released, and then suddenly, well, every phone needed to have an always on display, and we always knew that always on display was the best. Oh, okay, cool. Good to know that you like it now that you have it, but you didn't like it when you didn't have it. Talking to that invisible person who's standing behind you. Yes, I can see the invisible person standing behind you. So, that's one thing that's Apple software related, not Apple hardware related. The hardware is fully capable of handling it. It's just in software. You got to wait for it to happen. I got tired of waiting. I'll be honest. I have a better smartphone experience, overarchingly, despite its drawbacks. The Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra is a better smartphone experience than the iPhone, in my humble opinion, in my use cases, in my experience, and I will say extensive experience in using these devices. I would say almost on a daily basis. So, if you said, Chris, you have to choose one of these two devices. You have to choose either the iPhone 13 Pro Max with iOS or Android 12 on the Pixel 6 Pro. That'd be a tough choice. I'd probably give it to Android 12 over iOS at that point, if you forced me to. And don't ever force me to do that. Don't you ever force me to do that. Don't you ever. I will make my own choices. Thank you very much. Not predicated on algorithms or your belief structure or your religion. I'm not going to do something as reckless as jailbreaking either. That is not something that I would say is a good idea for anybody to do. But, if you want to take your life in your own hands, then okay. It's completely, wholly, 100% uninteresting to me. Always has been. Always will be. So you got to take the experiences as they come. And so let's continue to talk about the experiences here. Both of these devices have cases on them. I know. They both have cases. Nice. Huh? Nice. Yeah, I think we can all agree. Very nice that the fact that they can have. I'm trying to think of nice things, people. Okay, I'm reaching. Give me credit. I am trying. The cases are dark. Another bonus. Another benefit. Let's see here. What else? The flashlight feature works on each one of them. It's another thing. Yeah, you don't always see that. Okay, you always do anymore. But I'm just saying, the flashlight feature works. So I talked about fluidity. I talked about. Let's see, let me check my rubric here. Give me a second. I've got my rubric over here. You know what? It may be time for some more cereal. More frame drops on Android right now. No, actually about the same. Just about the same amount of frame drops on iOS as Android. Which is that's not a good thing. Camera, okay, talked about voice typing. Okay, so the default, like the keyboard and voice typing, the Pixel definitely has it over the iPhone. Like the Pixel, you can just whip in and out of voice typing. Like in dictation, it's awesome on the Pixel. So the Pixel definitely wins on that front. Yeah, so, you know, that, Battery life, I don't care. It's something I've never measured. It's something I've never really cared about. It's something that, you know, is going to work differently for some than others, so it's kind of irrelevant. I'll put it to you this way. You know, I've been using the Pixel, not, you know, consistently, but using it for the past few days, and I haven't really charged it, and it says it got about 23 minutes left based on my usage, 1%, so I'm down to 1% on here, which is fine. Let's see here. Let me go in to the Pixel settings, and oh, never mind. It's shutting down. Totally my fault, dude. I want to, you know, based upon reports, the iPhone has better battery life. That may be important to you. Cool. Then you've probably done all the research. All I can say is that something that I really don't like. I don't sit there and like benchmark things like, oh, this one's faster than this one. Oh, this one's faster. Oh, let's see. I don't do that. Like I work in the real world, right? Like specifically with like the Pixel, a lot of the operations that I might need, the things that I need to do, I feel it can be done faster on another Android device than on the Pixel, right? But I can't necessarily compare the Pixel, that speed of the Pixel to the speed of the iPhone. That's why those kinds of specs are just irrelevant. You can have an A54 Bionic, and I just, okay, cool, but like, what about the software? Is it something that I need? Is it something that I use? Is it a good experience? And no, 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 no. Let's go ahead and talk about the launcher. Okay, like the default, like the interactive, where you go and launch things, whatever the hell you call it on either platform, the springboard, the launcher, whatever. iOS is still the same old iOS. Glitchy. It's another reason I dumped the iPad. It was just very glitchy to rearrange things in iOS. Icons jump left and right, and you can't move them properly. And sometimes are you removing, or are you deleting, or are you putting them in the app? Or what is going on here? It's just, yeah, it's an idea built on top of an idea, built on top of an idea, built on top of an idea, and bugs all the way down. It hasn't changed that much. Maybe you like it. I got tired of it. I mean, it works. I'll give iOS that. It works. There's my review. It works. Sometimes the launcher, though, on the Pixel is bare bones is probably the best word I could use to describe it. Lack of customization, glitchy as well, different kind of glitchy on the Pixel compared to the glitchiness of iOS. You know, I feel that they're equally as snappy, but you can also speed up animations on Android. You can't do that on iOS, and iOS is just a little slow. It's very slow. It's like a graceful bird that's taking off. I'm like, I really don't need to see the folder do this. Every flower out, like, oh, the flower is blossoming. And there are my apps inside. Oh, okay. I'm gonna slowly tap that app icon. Yes, everything is graceful. Okay, that may be for you. I'm into whipping in and out. I can do things. I can do the same thing on each one, but I can do things faster on an Android device than I can on iOS at this point. I would argue that most people could, again, because you're limited by the speed of the animations on iOS versus being able to speed them up on Android. But honestly, both of the launcher experiences, not happy with either one. See, this is like, I'm doing a versus. I'm like, I'm not happy with either one on this. I'm not happy with either one on this. Okay, let's talk about dark mode. Or you know, as I like to call it sometimes, dark mode, because it's not really dark mode. Like this, to me, this black shirt, this is dark mode. Black, pure black, 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 dark, dark. Neither one of these experiences is really true dark mode. It's dark-ish mode. It's scanner darkly mode. It's in the territory of dark. It's certainly darker than light mode. But, like, I like dark, black, dark mode. And neither one of these two tick that box for me. So, yeah, again, they're kind of on equal footing. So, there we go. Equal footing in terms of me being disappointed with the camera output, me being disappointed with the general lack of fluidity, you know, across the experience in the ecosystem. Me having the same experience with dark mode. I see, many people say, oh, well, I thought you would like one over the other. I'm like, no, I like them equally. Which is not necessarily to say that I like them. It's just my perspective. The nav bar. Let's talk about the nav bar. So this little thing that, you know, years ago I called the turd bar on iOS. I will say this. iOS, I think, implements the turd bar better than the Pixel calls upon the turd bar. They renders the turd bar. You know, the nav bar, the bottom of the screen, right? The thing you swipe up. So, in my humble opinion, some people need it there. I don't. I wish I could just eliminate it entirely. That's like an immersive experience. That said, because of the app development cycle with iOS, like, app developers don't have to worry about the background behind the nav bar. And that comes across cleaner in those types of apps that are optimized for it. And most apps, I would say, at this point are optimized, going from the iPhone 10 forward. So it's managed better on the iPhone, and it looks... This atrocity looks better on the iPhone. This gesture hint, as they call it, looks better on the iPhone than I feel on the Pixel. Because the Pixel, as much as it's smaller... has inconsistency between apps, and that's very clear, very prevalent. Like in the task switching menu, when you jump between apps, you'll see like some backgrounds are transparent, some backgrounds have color, some backgrounds are white, black, dark mode, gray. You know, like it's just different. It's wildly inconsistent between apps, and that wild inconsistency takes me out of the experience. So yeah, Pixel failed on the nav bar. Android, I'm happy to report, has as seen from OEMs. Gives, or you could give the user the ability to turn it off. So I do, when I can. I did that on a OnePlus device. I do that on my Samsung device. I turn it off. I don't need it. I don't need a gesture hint. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm just going to gesture down there. I don't need it taking up space. So I get consistency between apps on another Android device. So this is not about iOS versus Android. Again, this is about the way that Google implemented Android 12 on the Pixel versus the way that Apple implemented iOS on the iPhone. So there you go. 2 farts up. So let's see here. What else do I have in my rubric? Things that I look at. The things that I generally want to review. Split screen. Non-existent. Completely non-existent on the iPhone, which is baffling. Like, seriously. Like, if I look at the iPhone screen compared to, say... Give me a second. That's weird. So let's go ahead. I was looking at notifications. So they're about the same size-ish. Or pretty darn close to it, right? So I can split screen real easily on the Samsung device. And it's relatively elegant, the split screen experience on the Samsung. There's nothing that's I'm left for wanting in relation to split screen apps on the Samsung device. As I said, non-existent on that iOS device right now, inexplicably. Like, okay, it just doesn't exist. But the way that Google implemented, so between the two, I have to give it to the Google Pixel because you can split screen apps, and I split screen apps every day. It's how I stage and record my inspirational, motivational videos that I post to my TikTok and Twitter and a separate YouTube channel that people actually pay attention to, and where else? Instagram, I post there. Here, let me do something here. Oh, I don't need that. I'm going to... Oh, really? I didn't think it would do that. Where is... There we go. Here is my QR code for TikTok. So scan it. You can just follow me over there. I already got like 1,000 followers. Most of the people over there just... I mean, I didn't really push people that direction. Most of the people over on TikTok have only known me because of TikTok. So I've got, like, I just passed 1,000 followers there. On average, these videos will track 1-to-1, which is really good. That's really good engagement, meaning, like, I'll get just as many views as I might have subscribers, which I love to see that ratio. Anyway, I use the split screen feature on the Samsung device every day, and before that, if only for that. And the Pixel's choppy and sloppy. It works, but not as full featured as the Samsung, but at least it exists. So I got to give it to the Pixel for split screen. Got to not give it to the iPhone for, waiting however long to introduce that feature. Maybe they'll introduce it next year. That would have been a nice feature to have this year. I'll be clear about that. That would be something I would have looked forward to because I would have used it. Selfie camera, I feel that the Pixel does a better job than the iPhone. And honestly, that's my use case. In fact, some of those TikTok inspirational videos I've been doing were shot with the Pixel. It's pretty clear when you look at them, like, oh, that was done on a Samsung device, that was done on a Pixel. I probably need to use the Pixel more for that, but it's just not, it's a little clunkier. And who wants a clunky software experience? Not I. Notifications, let's talk about that. I don't like the way either one of these devices handle notifications. I think the design is not great, but if you gave me a choice, I would choose Android's management of notifications way over iOS management of notifications. Like, the notifications is just one more thing that needs to be rebooted in iOS that might never be. But I just don't like the way that notifications are done anymore on Android, specifically the Pixel implementation of Android, compared to, say, what I believe is a better software experience for notifications, Samsung. Are you sensing a motif? Are you getting the feeling that Samsung did a better job with Android than Google did? It's very much true. Like, that's been my experience. Are you getting a feeling that Samsung's doing a better job with software than Apple is? Are you getting that? Are you feeling that at all? Is that coming across? Because I'm telling you, once you've used them, you start to see. I'm like, oh, that's what Chris was talking about. Huh, he wasn't just blowing smoke. Interesting. He's clearly not just sharing his opinions for the views, but, the opinions he shares, at least that's what he believes. At least, he's direct about what he feels and what he thinks. System font, they're about equal. I don't like either one of them. I think I like the way that the system font renders better on, not just to speak to the display, but the Pixel font is just a little too lightweight for me. Versus Apple's, what are they? Is it SF or San Francisco? Is that what they're using? I know they're using that on Mac OS. A Helvetica-like clone. I think I like it a little more on the iPhone than I do on the Pixel. Though I appreciate a smaller font. You can't really do that on the iPhone. In fact, what's so funny about the iPhone is, like, even this is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The Pro Max, by the way, refers to the size of the icons and the time in the top bar that flanks the notch. Like, that's gigantic. They are Pro Max. The size of the battery is Pro Max. This battery here, hang on. This battery here and the Wi-Fi symbol, they are Pro Max. Seriously, Pro Max. Like, beyond Pro Max. That's what it refers to. Many people don't know. They assume, I think incorrectly, that Pro Max that's all about the hardware. Oh, well, it's Pro Max because it's big. No. They only made it a big phone so they could give you bigger icons at the top of the screen and a bigger time, a gigantic time. You just cannot. You can see it from across the room. That's what makes it Pro Max. And I don't mean the time here. I'm talking about up here. Where it's always that you just can't. That's it. It's like 1 point size, like 74 point. Gigantic, freaking huge. In terms of charging speed, I don't measure. They both charge fast. They both charge wirelessly. I don't necessarily. I probably should be recharging the Pixel, although I don't currently have an immediate use for the Pixel, apart from comparing it potentially to other flagships that are inevitably released or will be inevitably released over the next year or so. Even the Pixel videos that I've done on YouTube, it just doesn't seem like many people are interested at all in the Pixel. Seriously, I can tell you, like, I don't think people care about the Pixel. Not because I don't think they should, not because I don't think it's worth attention, but because it just doesn't get trafficked. That's been my experience for years. Speakers, I feel, and I'm sure you could get into the weeds with this, but they're both ample. I don't use them that much, so neither one of them annoys me. What else do I have here for... Oh, okay, let's talk about unlocking. There's a built-in fingerprint scanner in the Pixel, and you got the Face ID in the iPhone. I understand why people like Face ID. I don't think it's very great. We got an Aziz purple. Came in from... Oops, that's not really purple. This is more purple, I guess. Oh, that last one was pink. There's only so much you can do. Thank you, Liz, for redeeming that with the super chat. And so, yeah, oh, what was I covering a second ago? Now I've lost track. Pez Liz threw out an Aziz purple. Now I've lost track. Okay, iPhone. I know I was talking about the iPhone. Charging. Switchability. I don't see myself switching back to iOS anytime soon, and I use it every day. I mean, I really do. I like I said, I operate it with the live stream, and I'm telling you, every time I use it, I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I'm not using this as my phone. And even when I switched to the iPhone, what was it, the 8 Plus a few months ago, I'm like, God, I'm so glad I'm not using this on a daily basis anymore. You don't realize just how good you could have it until you try something else. And the Samsung software experience is far exceeds the Apple software experience at this point, in my humble opinion. And don't get me wrong, I would love them both to be world class. I would love to have both of them be amazing. I can't say that in good conscience. Not in my experience. Needs a charades break? Yeah, no doubt. Thank you, A Hayes. Good to see you here. Although I know you're a sub over on Twitch. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I ever considered myself a team Pixel. I'm not a team anybody. I'm a team Chris. I'm a team of one. Because and I'm glad I am, because otherwise I would have been very disappointed in the Pixel 6 Pro. Very disappointed. Extremely disappointed. It's all on me, right? I admit, like, this is just not... It's not a device that I could just wholeheartedly say, yes, if you're looking for an Android device, this is the one you want to get. I'm not going to say that. I would have said that 2 years ago with the Pixel 4 XL. I absolutely would have said that. I'm not saying that at all with the Pixel 6 Pro. Nope. I'm not making a recommendation. If you backed me into a corner, you said you got to answer the question. That's what I would say right now. So I'm very, very wary when anybody is firmly in one camp over another, because that's where you don't take a serious look at competition. Competition keeps the marketplace healthy. I've been saying that for how long? How long have I been alive? You know, when you don't have competition, that's when things languish. And the people who lose are the people who don't have the competition. They're the ones who just get what they get. And, you know, I'm always pushing for better experiences. So, I mean, nothing's going to get a passing grade for me. I mean, to me, the ultimate accolade is I'm using it, or I switched to it, or switched back to it. And it's all those decisions are driven by software. all of those decisions are driven by software. So just be careful when you identify or self-identify in one camp or another. You may be cutting yourself off from balance, perspective, because you're taking one perspective like, you gotta pay attention beyond that which you're comfortable with. I use Windows. I'm using Windows right now to broadcast. I use the Nook PC, as I've mentioned in recent days on YouTube. You probably didn't watch that video either. I know you didn't watch the videos. You want me to do videos, but then you don't watch the videos I do. I know you. I got you. I know you. Chris, do more of those videos. I do more videos, and then they don't get. I'm like, okay, well, it's not that I'm not doing it. I'm going to pay more attention to Twitch. Thank you very much. There's a reason. So I use Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS. I don't use everything, but I would feel that, it's far more representative of, flagship-like experiences, or like, the top operating systems that are out there today. It's not just about the devices, but it's about that software experience to me. Always has been, always will be. You can't hate me into liking hardware. It won't work that way. It's the software that ultimately drives those personal decisions for me, which is why I like Mac OS more than Windows today. Hey, Avaline French, good to see you. Good evening to you on that side of the world. Thank you for tuning into some Saturday morning Chris Tunes. Yeah, I feel that, and thank you, by the way, Avaline, for not just being a sub on Twitch, but thank you for being a member here on YouTube as well. Very appreciated. I like where Windows is going. Windows 11, I think, is definitely a step in the right direction. I appreciate what Microsoft is doing, doubling down on design in that aspect and at that angle for Windows. It's long overdue. I could see myself... honestly, I could see myself switching back to preferring Windows over Mac OS at some point in the future. When that design sticks the landing, like, and is, through and through Windows 11, like, all right, I'm buying into this. I still use it. There are certain things that I can only do on a Windows PC that I can't do on Mac OS, or not as easily. It just comes down to your use cases. But, even when I look at Android on the Pixel, it's radically different from Android on a Samsung device. Radically different from Android on another device, right? They're all different. Compare that against iOS, which really hasn't changed that much. It genuinely has not. I wouldn't even say it's even gotten more fluid over time. They're very much firmly planted in the past. If they're going to step outside of that at some point, then iOS becomes interesting to me again. But the only way iOS really becomes interesting is not necessarily on its own merits. It's more like, I can't find anything else that I like. And that's how I've felt for years. Like, after iOS, disappointed me for the last time, I flipped to the Pixel, and now the Pixels started to disappoint me with the release of the 5, whatever that was. And then now the 6 Pro with the software that just doesn't seem to be fully baked. I'm like, yeah, I'm not this team. That's not a team for me. I got to decide what's going to be best for me. That's my team. And you got to think the same way. But that's what keeps the businesses and the companies on their toes, because they've got to do better. They've got to build better to keep you, using their products, right? They shouldn't rest on their laurels. They've always got to push forward. That's the sign of a company that understands, what's at stake. Building a better product. Isn't that what it's all about? Just building a better product. And I'm putting my product manager hat on, my virtual product manager hat on when I talk about this stuff. It's the product that matters most. And so much of what goes into that product is software. And when you don't pay attention to the software, well, you get an iPhone 13 Pro Max or a Pixel 6 Pro. Shrug emoji. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on those devices. I would much rather talk about cereal. Is that? As opposed to things that I'm not happy with, things that disappoint me. Who would want to revel in that? This is why I'm not necessarily a fan of tech. I'm a fan of what tech does, not for what it is. The cereal is growing on me. But it is wheat. So I'm going to have to take some kind of a medication. Otherwise, it will not pass through my system. Not sure what else I have to say specifically about these two devices. Apart from, I found a place for the iPhone. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find a place for the Pixel. I'm not even sure. I mean, me buying a Pixel next year may very well be predicated on how Android runs, how the next version of Android, and I don't mean Android 12, I'm sorry, 12L, the one right around the corner for foldables. If Android 13 doesn't impress me on the 6 Pro, I'm not likely going to spend any money on a Pixel. This may be the last Pixel I get. I was expecting it to be better than it was. I bought the iPhone knowing that where it would be, how, where it would be accommodated here in my flow, knowing how I would use it, knowing that I'd be upgrading that part of the live stream experience with the cameras. Specifically here, photo output on this thing, on 13 Pro Max, not good. I haven't really used the standalone video stuff, and I'm not going to grab it necessarily just to shoot a video. I'm just going to use whatever camera I have on me. Or smartphone. They're almost synonymous these days. But the Pixel, I don't know where it fits. I got it because I intended on switching. You might remember earlier this year on Twitch. I keep saying that. There's a reason I keep saying Twitch, because I'm on Twitch every night. Every single night. So if you're not following me on Twitch, you're not really following me. If you're not paying attention to me on Twitch, you're not really paying attention. Which is true. Like, I mean, you're going to find the best of me on Twitch, not on YouTube, where videos go to die. Prove me wrong. Tell me you've seen every video I've published this week on YouTube. Just go ahead and tell me. Maybe you haven't watched them, but you've been notified. Tell me. Tell me I'm wrong. Anyway. My Pixel 4 XL died. Out of the blue. And that's when I decided to try the Samsung. Begrudgingly. Thinking that it had a lesser software experience. And sometimes it feels that way. So I didn't intend on wasting my money on the Pixel 6 Pro. But I intended to switch to it. Switch back from the Samsung to the Pixel because I missed the Pixel experience. But the Pixel experience, 99% of it was software. So imagine how disappointed I was to realize within an hour's time that there's no possible way I could switch from a Samsung flagship device to a Pixel 6 Pro because of the software. So someone else did something better. And I don't have unlimited budget to buy things that I don't need. I don't need another smartphone. I don't collect smartphones. Some people do. I don't know why, but some people do. I collect Star Wars stuff, as you can imagine. But you know that. Hey, Corey, good to see you. Corey, I'm telling you, I think you would be much happier on a Samsung device, Corey. That's my humble opinion. For software, just trust me on this. It died in front. You remember Avaline? Were you there that night? Were you there? It happened. So imagine, like, I just. So then you might ask, well, Chris, why don't you send it back? Well, first of all, because I'm getting free Pixel Buds. Second of all, I just want to see how well it tracks over the next year or so when new flagships are released, like the OnePlus 10. I have every intention on getting that. Like the next Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, I intend on getting that. And I'm not sure how many other flagships I would get that other people might care about. So I'm really holding on to the Pixel for that, as well as, I mean, you never know. It could be a good backup. Maybe Android 13 will turn it around. I don't know. But Android 13 is pretty much my last best hope for the Pixel. At least today, it constantly changes. This ecosystem, the environment constantly changes, constantly shifts. Not necessarily just based upon hardware changes, but specifically software changes. The Pixel story was all about software. Samsung's next story has to be all about software, not the hardware. And hardware's good, you got a faster product, but like it's about the software optimizations that they make. That's what drives my decisions. So yeah, that's that's why I got the Pixel. That's why I'm holding on to it. But this may be the last Pixel I get. It's got some neat things on it. Got some things that I would love on other things. By the way, there's another app called on the Samsung. You want to get Good Lock, of course, but I even downloaded. You can get Gcam on this other devices, but it's not great by comparison. Like it's really not. It's fine. It gives a pixel photo looking output, but inevitably, even in tweaking it, it just doesn't work amazingly well. Certainly in every situation. There are some situations that it does work better in, so I keep it around for that, just in case. But there's another app on Android called Retouch, and I'm sure there's not. Well, on iOS you use Pixelmator. Pixelmator is the one you want to use to remove items from the background. Like, here's a can I do it? There we go. So like this is not using the Pixel Magic Eraser. It's using Retouch on Android, but you can use Pixelmator on iOS or Mac, which is what I use. But like, I feel that between the two, this is using Retouch on Android. I feel Retouch did a better job with this than the Magic Eraser feature. So it's kind of a gimmick. It's neat. It's good to have, but you can get it in another way. You can get that feature in another way. I'm going to go ahead and wind down because we're right at an hour, or right a little over an hour. But I'll be back again tonight on Twitch. Feel free to follow me there, doing my regular things. And of course, all across social media as well. So feel free to follow. Wherever you are, you could probably find me. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got to upload. I think. Do I have a new video ready to go for tomorrow? I got to check the schedule. I'm out a few videos. I've got a few videos out that I've recorded, live on Twitch. For the most part, but this was the one I wanted to do today, if only to not stop talking about the Pixel, but basically be done with talking about the Pixel. Oh, weird. Oh, more of my Super 7 figures shipped. Yay! Okay, everyone. I don't know about Pirillo Teen. Do I really want to do Pirillo Teen? I'm so hot right now, and then I gotta drag it out. Nobody on YouTube knows who Pirillo Teen is, Liz. It's really only for people who follow on Twitch. It's an inside joke, which everybody could get if they follow me on Twitch. But if you don't, well, then don't be surprised when you don't understand half the things that I say. So, I love you, I appreciate you, and at this point I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and may the Force be with you, always.